A Southern Kentucky community is mourning the loss of 3 people who died earlier this week in a fire. A woman, her son, and granddaughter all died after that fire in Somerset. We are learning more about the lives taken today and the farewell services to be held this weekend. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to a family grieving the losses but finding hope in a caring community.
It's been such a monumental moment in time for all the wrong reasons and never finding the right words for it.
And like I was telling somebody a while ago, I could talk all day, but I don't know what to say.
Fire swept through a home on Parkers Mill Road early Tuesday morning. Norma Dean Petite, her son Jerry Todd, her granddaughter Briley all passed away. Bradley's father Brian survived and is at a Louisville hospital.
This happens to someone else, and we see it on the news, and we say, oh, how awful, and then we go on with our lives.
Pastor Alan Fisher tells me that he has performed a lot of funeral services, but none like the one that'll be held here on Saturday. There will be one funeral for all 3 at 11 o'clock Saturday morning.
3 family members at one time, and so it's definitely going to be a heavy day here for us on Saturday. And yeah, and especially with the young one and the other one. I mean, they're all amazing people.
All 3 from one family, but each with their own stories.
Briley was a spitfire. You couldn't get anything over on her. He was a walking GPS. He could tell you anything. She was the grounder, I guess, of her family and of our family.
They're grieving their loss, but thankful for the community and even the actions of complete strangers.
Some people they didn't know stopped and gave them $200. Said they'd been through this.
Knowing now they can also make it through this. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Visitation services will be from 3 until 8 Friday at the church. Southern Oaks Funeral Home is handling the arrangements. A forest fire provided quite a scare for folks living in some apartment buildings in Pikeville yesterday afternoon. WYMT's McKinley Calandrino has the latest on that.
Crews are monitoring the aftermath of a forest fire that sparked yesterday afternoon in the Pikeville community. The Pikeville Fire Department received a call around 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. The caller said a transformer had possibly blown, causing a forest fire behind the Northgate community on Town Mountain Road. Crews arrived on the scene to find heavy smoke in the area and a large fire near the apartment complex. High winds did not help matters, with about 60 to 70 acres of land total on fire.
So our next steps for the next couple of days, we're praying for a little bit of rain. That way we can just mop up these little hot spots here and there. You're going to see smoke in the area. If you see anything getting close to your house, always call 911. First responders worked together to contain the wildfire and have crews checking on it 24/7. Folks in the apartment building were evacuated when things were hot, and thankfully, fire chief says that nobody was hurt. In Pike County, McKinley Calandrino, WYMT Mountain News.
Pike County Judge Executive Ray Jones also issued an emergency burn ban yesterday, prohibiting all outdoor burning.
We're seeing some on-again, off-again showers throughout portions of eastern Kentucky. This is a scene from the tower cam at the WYMT studios. We're seeing a little bit of rain right now around Perry County. You can see right here on live pinpoint Doppler radar just how spread out this is, if you will. A few renegade showers across portions of, let's say, Menifee County down to portions of Rockcastle County. And then if you look real close in the upper elevations near Norton, portions of Lee County and Virginia, Wise County, a little bit of Harlan County near the Lynch area, seeing a little bit of snow. Again, that's up in the upper elevations. Right now, we're seeing temperatures in the 30s and 40s. We are several degrees cooler than 24 hours ago. Some places between 34 to 39 degrees cooler. Something went through, and it was a cold front. It was a sharp cold front, too. We had temperatures yesterday in the 70s and 80s. Yesterday, today, we were in the 40s. You can see the wind gusts here, maximum wind gusts since midnight, 38-mile-an-hour wind gusts near Somerset. I'll have your complete first alert forecast coming up in a few minutes. Steve.
All right, Eric, thanks. Survivors from Floyd, Pike, Johnson, Morgan, and Magoffin counties are staying at the Jenny Wiley State Park as part of the state's efforts to provide shelter to those impacted by the February flood. WYMT's Buddy Forbes visited the site today as an organization created after the 2022 flood put boots on the ground to give back.
A hot meal and a few needed resources go a long way.
What's really important is having a local group on the ground to be there the moment disaster hits, because what we learned from the last flood is help can't wait.
Which is why Roscoe's daughter brought its disaster recovery efforts to the Jenny Wiley Lodge Thursday, partnering with Well Care and Wild Time to give back to flood survivors from 5 different counties.
It's just to be able to lend a hand to our different community partners like Kate, who's doing the work every day and out here working tirelessly to fulfill those needs.
Kate Clemens says the mission is to provide immediate needs and keep in contact with survivors for long-term recovery.
I can't believe we're doing this again. What was once a 1,000-year flood is now become a 2.5-year flood. Many of these families in all the counties we are serving have been affected twice now.
Sierra Hotelling's family has been through 3 floods since 2021 and is now staying at the lodge after the February flood hit their Wayland community.
Everything we got back from the last flood gone, everything.
After seeing her mother battle and survive cancer and losing her father in December, she says it is indescribable to be in a place where everything is gone. Again.
We didn't have socks or anything, but now we got socks. I mean, I know I'm smiling stuff like it's funny, but it's not, but it's something. It's better than nothing.
Like Hotelling, Mary Prater is wondering how her family will move forward after losing everything from their home in Allen.
It's hard seeing things like that and seeing the people that don't have nowhere to go now, you know, and trying to find a place.
She says the water hit her home and her neighbors in a way none of them have ever seen.
People's worked hard for what they have, and it's not even fair, but you got to pick up and move on.
While survivors say the helping hands have been a lifeboat through the storm,
I would hope that we somehow get a home.
They still feel isolated as they hope for healing.
Feel safe again, you know. I just keep praying that comes.
In Floyd County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Clemens says with the information from the flood survivors at the park, her organization has now been connected with those seeking state shelter from every flooded county in the area, so she hopes to keep helping families through the recovery process. Kentucky Supreme Court reversed a manslaughter conviction this morning. Troy Dunkelberger was sentenced to 20 years in prison in 2023. KSP says he shot and killed Jaron Slayback during a 2020 camping trip in Wolfe County. Dunkelberger said he acted in self-defense, but the court originally ruled that Dunkelberger could not use that defense since he started the argument that led to the shooting. Today, the Supreme Court overturned that decision. They said Dunkelberger's actions were not threatening enough to make him the initial aggressor. Dunkelberger could be tried again. Governor Andy Beshear vetoed a bill dealing with diversity, equity, and inclusion. House Bill 4 seeks to ban DEI initiatives at public colleges and universities. On social media, the governor said, quote, "We've worked hard to make our Commonwealth a welcoming place. House Bill 4 takes away from that." The Republican supermajority will likely override the governor's veto. It is a busy week in Lexington as UK Athletics hosts rounds of both the men's and women's NCAA tournaments. The first round of men's games tipped off inside Rupp Arena this afternoon. As Samantha Valentino shows us, out-of-town fans have poured into Lexington to support some of Kentucky's biggest rivals.
For fans dressed in red
till I'm dead, honey,
and orange, Rupp Arena is usually enemy territory.
Can't deal with the Cat fans over in here in UK at Rupp Arena.
But this week, the enemies aren't home.
It's an opportunity for us to paint Rupp red.
Whether the Cats are in Lexington or not, the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry runs deep. Some Kentucky fans refuse to let the Cards walk into their house and claim home court advantage. Talk to me about why you wanted to come out to this game today, though, as Kentucky fans.
Well,
despite them.
Louisville faced off against Creighton, another blue and white team. Creighton fans were grateful to have some extra support as they cheered their Blue Jays to a win.
It's pretty fun because they're all walking by us saying, go Blue Jays, so you can tell they're rooting for us.
I think there is a big rivalry here.
Another Kentucky rival, Tennessee, takes the court just before 7. Colton Hayes is a lifelong Vols fan. His dad, David, says Colton started asking about tickets weeks ago as bracket projections started coming out.
We were out of town, called him up, he's in college, bought the tickets, and what was your response?
I almost cried. I was so happy. I was calling my friends, texting him. I was so excited.
For the Hayes family, winning a game at Rupp always means more, especially because Mrs. Hayes is the lone Kentucky fan in the house.
Mom actually wanted to slide in here because it was Rupp, but I told her she would have to wear orange. So
and
that was a deal breaker.
Yeah. In Lexington, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.
Now, of course, the UK men play tomorrow night around 7:10. You can see that live here on WYMT. The UK women have an earlier start time tomorrow in the NCAA tournament, but they did not have to travel nearly as far as the men. Their game's taking place at Memorial Coliseum in Lexington. UK takes on Liberty at noon Friday. But for Malia Alexander, a Kentucky native who graduated from Cooper High School last year, suiting up for the Flames is a homecoming that feels a little bittersweet to start their tournament run against the Cats she grew up watching.
I did. I grew up a UK fan, watching, all the big teams, especially on the guys' side, but too on the girls' side. So yeah, big UK fan, but obviously go Flames.
Talk about a conflict of interest there. Alexander, along with Cassidy Rowe, are the only two Kentucky natives playing in Lexington this weekend. We'll have more coming up later in sports. NCAA tournament kicks off again tonight at 7 o'clock on WYMT, and our late newscasts will be on around midnight.